Hello. Your child has been shown several examples at school, both in person and online. The purpose of this is just in case you have any questions, or perhaps you're one of my students looking just to have a refresher on the things that we talked about. This first example gives you a really great visual on the height and size of the display board that we are expected to have. If your student hasn't told you, they are on sale in the school store for $1. The difference between the ones in the school store and this one is that the school store version comes with a topper that goes across that just helps it stand up a little bit better. You by no means need to buy these at the school store. You can purchase them at the dollar store, Walmart, and numerous other stores. But this one is a great example of the size expected. If it's too small, your child is really going to struggle in order to get all of the required material on their display board. And it'll also be very difficult for students to see when they give their presentations. These are two more examples that show the quality expected, the material that is expected to be presented. And I love that you have two very solid examples. One, the student chose to take the extra credit opportunity and typed all of their things, where the other child did a fantastic job, but did not type everything. So a printer is certainly not required for this activity. When they do actually need to print a few things, but they are given time in school for that. And those types of questions are covered in my other presentation that is frequently asked questions about the Science Expo. Two more very colorful, bright, eye-catching examples of projects from in the past. You will notice that most of my examples are typed. It isn't because I expect it to be typed. It is partly because most students do, because it is an extra credit opportunity, but also because of the projects that I've gotten over the years, the most eye-catching and the best visually appealing happen to also have been typed. Here you'll see one of my best handwritten projects ever turned in. Everything is there, but all handwritten. Very little out-of-pocket expense for any of this. And again, that will be discussed in the frequent questions presentation. The example on the right, you will see lots of photographs step by step rather than explaining. This student chose to demonstrate their step-by-step procedure in pictures with captions. And then of course her finished product is seen as well. On to the Science Journal. Here you'll see several examples of science journals that have been turned in the past. The example on the left I chose because you can see very clearly that the student documented their work and gave captions so that when myself or their fellow students were looking at their journal, they were able to see what they were looking at. Because in science class, we talk about how if someone wanted to replicate their results, their journal would have to be accurate and detailed so that those results could be repeated. Here is an example of a handwritten journal, which is all that's really required. And this student followed my directions precisely and began their journal when I assigned the topics and allowed them to do their survey, which is also covered in our other presentation about frequently asked questions. Two more examples. The one on the left, you will see just documented results and journal entries multiple times per day sometimes. The one on the right, again, lots of details talking about what was done, measurements, all things to prove that the experiment was actually conducted, not just researched and looked at, but never truly performed. Two final examples. This one talks about taking the survey, looking up their questions, making decisions, and then also a really great example of data that was recorded in a science journal. Hopefully this clears up some of your questions that you might have in regard to what the science journal should look like, also what the display board requirements are. And of course, if you have any additional questions, you can always email me at mimanning@troyareasd.org or send me a message on ClassDojo. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy this time with your child, working with them, of course not doing it for them, but working with them. I've had so many families talk to me later and say that, oh, I dreaded this project, but as we got going, we had such great fun. We really learned things about each other, and we just really, really enjoyed this project because it was good family time, working together, learning together. And I hope that you are able to enjoy this project that way as well.